it can be difficult to make friends.
Exactly.
And the social life in Finland is different.
Even when they meet with their friends, they kind of schedule the meeting like a very professional way. But I think I am also quite social person, maybe.
You're very social.
She can
I think we're on two opposite sides. You're like, oh, when are you free? They might be, oh, I'm free like on Saturday afternoon in 3 weeks. That's quite common.
Hello guys.
Hello.
Today we have Kat with us, and we will talk about pros and cons of living in Finland. Okay, talking about the second pros, I think she already mentioned that nature and outdoor activities. So people find it also good because there's a nature everywhere. I think you walk any direction, 5 kilometers, you will find a lake.
Yeah, or the sea.
Or the sea or the forest. So this is really nice here.
And one of the big hobbies of Finnish people is going to the cabins.
Cottage,
which is usually in nature, away from everyone else.
For me, it was like in the start, people really like this thing. There's no toilet here, there's no basic.
Yeah, the Finnish cabins are usually quite basic, so there might not necessarily be running water. Sometimes there's electricity, but not necessarily everywhere. Usually there is.
It happens like when I recently moved to Finland, and with my company we have this party, get-together party. It was it was a barbecue and spending night in a forest with the wooden cabins, just a flat. There was no bed, nothing. So we just sleep there with our sleeping bags. And for me, it's like, is it some fun activity or it's like a punishment? And for them, they're like really happy that wow, we are doing something, in the forest. So, but yeah, I think in the summers there are quite many activities: fishing and hiking, walking. So these things are really nice in Finland. For me, I like swimming in lakes, so I really find it a good activity. And this is, I think, one plus point living in Finland.
And then you wanted to add another con, which for some people, if you're moving from a very active, extroverted, social country or have that kind of life,
warm countries,
life abroad, then coming here can be challenging, since what I've heard from people moving here as well is that it can be difficult to make friends.
Exactly.
And the social life in Finland is different. Can you elaborate on how?
Exactly. For me, I think I am also quite social person, maybe.
You're very social. I think we're on two opposite sides.
So, but for me it was really hard because I am really proactive. I can go and say hello to anybody, even on the way.
And you're quite spontaneous as well.
Yeah, and for this, Finnish people don't like this thing actually. They're like, even some people don't even say hi back.
Well, because they think it's a bit weird if someone they don't know says hi, like out of context.
Yeah, exactly. So in general, people don't really like to talk to strangers here, or don't really open up in the start, I think. But over the time, maybe you can elaborate about Finnish people. For me, I feel like over the time they can be really good friends once you break the ice and get to know each other.
But also I think just the social threshold is different, because I think for a lot of Finnish people, meeting up with their friends once or twice a week is already a sufficient amount.
Exactly.
Whereas maybe some people might be used to seeing friends every day or every other day at least. Whereas Finnish people, if I'm just thinking about my own friend group, a lot of them, they'll go to work and then they're kind of tired after their work and they don't necessarily want to do anything after work, so then they'll usually just socialize on weekends.
Exactly.
And then in that way they can be like booked up quite far in advance. So if you're like, oh, when are you free? They might be, oh, I'm free like on Saturday afternoon in 3 weeks. That's quite common.
And this thing, from this point, I think Finnish people in general, I have seen that even when they meet with their friends, they kind of schedule the meeting like a very professional way. But Pakistani, in our culture, we can be like, just like you mentioned, spontaneous.
Yeah, that doesn't work so well here.
We can
if someone calls us and you want to meet up in an hour, Finnish people will freak out a little bit, like, oh my gosh, I didn't plan for this. It's not in my calendar. I feel a little bit stressed out right now.
Yeah, and if you do this, like scheduling meetings with Pakistanis or with our guys, and I think they will mind that he's not a good friend. He's like keeping us, in a distance away, like taking us very professional. But we are like, if they can call anytime, hey, let's go for a tea, let's go for something. So they are more into that thing, very spontaneous. For me, I think now I also don't like that anymore.
Really?
No, I mean, like, I'm changing now. Still, because that thing excites, but I'm changing over the time. When you have things planned up and somebody just come, hey, let's do this, and you're like, okay, I have something, and I'm into something.
Yeah.
And if you deny or reject the offer, then they kind of mind it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, you were quite spontaneous to film this video, because you asked me yesterday and I was like, are you free tomorrow? Because I have a very busy week next week. So then this was like the one time I was in Helsinki that I had a free time, and then you were like, oh sure, and I was actually a little surprised.
Yeah. I left my work 1 hour early just to make this video.
Wow. So I hope you guys give this video a thumbs up.
Hopefully.